I found the photograph in Jonathan's briefcase by accident. It was tucked behind his passport in the leather pocket he thought no one ever checked. A wedding photo. Jonathan in a cheap suit, much younger, much thinner, standing next to a woman I'd never seen before. She was beautiful. Dark hair, warm smile, holding a small bouquet of daisies. The date stamped on the back, June 14th, 1997, 28 years ago. I married Jonathan in 2010, 15 years ago, which meant this photo was taken 13 years before he married me. His first marriage, I assumed. The one he told me had ended badly. Divorced young, he'd said when we first started dating. Married my college girlfriend, realized we wanted different things, ended it amicably. I'd never asked for details. Didn't seem important. But looking at that photo, something felt wrong. The woman looked familiar. I'd seen her somewhere recently, but where? That's when my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Claire, this is Diane Mitchell from 4B, your neighbor. I need to talk to you. I stared at the message. Diane Mitchell, 4B, the woman 4 doors down. The quiet one who'd moved in about 5 years ago. Always polite in the hallway. Always looked tired. Why would she need to talk about my husband? I looked back at the photo, and then I realized why she looked familiar. The woman in the wedding photo was Diane Mitchell, my neighbor, married to my husband. 11 p.m., the knock. I didn't text back. I walked straight to her apartment and knocked. Diane opened the door immediately. She looked worse than I remembered. Thin, pale, wearing a headscarf, dark circles under her eyes. Claire, thank you for coming. Her apartment was smaller than ours, but it was neat, comfortable, photos on the walls, a cat sleeping on the couch. I want to know why you texted me about my husband. Diane nodded slowly, sat down carefully in an armchair, like movement hurt. Jonathan is here, right now, in my bedroom. My blood went cold. Excuse me, he comes every Tuesday night. He stays until about 2 a.m., then goes back to your apartment. I assume you think he's working late. I couldn't breathe because I'm dying, and he's been taking care of me. I have stage 4 breast cancer. Jonathan sits with me during the bad episodes. Diane reached for a folder, pulled out a document, a marriage certificate. Jonathan Reid, Diane Mitchell. Married June 14th, 1997. Because I'm his wife, Claire. I've been his wife for 28 years. We never divorced. The room tilted. Jonathan committed bigamy when he married you, which means your marriage to him. It's void. Legally, it never existed. Ask him yourself. He's in the next room. She stood up slowly, painfully, walked to the bedroom door, knocked gently. Jonathan? Claire is here, I told her. Then the door opened, and there was my husband, wearing worn jeans and an old t-shirt, looking exhausted, looking guilty, looking caught. Claire, I can explain. 15 years earlier, I met Jonathan Reid at a charity gala in 2009. I was 23, fresh out of art school. Jonathan was 30, already successful, called the next big thing in cloud computing. He was charming, confident, funny. We got married at his family's estate in Connecticut. Small ceremony. 50 guests. Beautiful. The happiest day of my life. Back to the present. Sit down, Claire. Jonathan's voice was quiet, defeated. Don't tell me to sit down. Tell me what is happening. I met Diane in college. We fell in love. Got married young, Stupid young. You told me you divorced in 2005. I lied because I was ashamed. Diane and we struggled. I was trying to build a startup, failing constantly. We were broke. CloudSync finally took off. Suddenly I had money, and I was traveling constantly, and I met other people, other women. I should have divorced her, but it was complicated. Diane wanted alimony, significant alimony. My lawyers said she was entitled to half. I met you. You were everything Diane wasn't. You didn't know me when I was nobody. You just loved a successful version of me. The version built on lies, yes. Diane returned with tea, set it on the coffee table, sat down carefully. I didn't know Jonathan had remarried, she said quietly. Not for years. I knew he was seeing someone, but I didn't know he'd married you until 2015, 5 years after your wedding. How did you find out? Cancer diagnosis. Stage 2 breast cancer. I needed insurance information from Jonathan. He was still legally my husband. I called his office. His assistant mentioned Mrs. Reid, and I said, yes, that's me. She said, oh, I meant Jonathan's wife, Claire, and I realized I felt sick. What did you do? I confronted him. He admitted everything, begged me not to go public, said it would destroy his company. And you agreed? Why? Because he made me an offer. He'd pay for all my cancer treatment. In exchange, I'd stay quiet about the bigamy. You blackmailed him. No, I gave him mercy he didn't deserve. I needed treatment more than I needed revenge, Jonathan spoke up. I've paid for every medical bill. I moved Diane into this building so I could help her when the cancer got worse. You moved your wife into the same building as your fake wife? I was screaming now. What is wrong with you? I was trying to take care of both of you. You don't get to take care of me. I'm not your responsibility. I stopped because I wasn't his wife. Legally, I was nothing. The cancer came back, Diane continued. 2 years ago. Stage 4, metastatic, and he's been coming here every Tuesday, I said slowly, to take care of you. While I thought he was working late, it's what a spouse does. Legally, he is my spouse. You're the one he abandoned. You just didn't know it yet. The words hit like a slap. 3 days later, I hired Catherine Vance, best divorce attorney in New York. Ruthless, expensive. She reviewed the documents. Claire, you have no legal standing to divorce Jonathan Reid. You were never married. Not legally. His marriage to Diane Mitchell is still valid. Under New York law, any subsequent marriage is void from the beginning. Void ab initio. It's as if it never happened. But I lived with him, shared his life. It does not matter. New York doesn't recognize common law marriage. You have no legal claim to his assets. So I get nothing? Not nothing. You could sue for fraud, but it will take years. Unless Diane gives you something. She's the legal wife. The phone call. That night, my phone rang. Diane. Claire, can we meet? Not at my apartment. Somewhere neutral. We met at a cafe, West Village. Diane looked worse, thinner. I'm dying, she said. The doctor said 6 months, maybe less. I'm filing for divorce from Jonathan. My lawyer says I'm entitled to half of his assets, $400 million. I'm giving you half. I stared at her. Why would you do that? Because Jonathan didn't just betray me. He betrayed you. He stole 15 years of your life. I was a coward. I chose survival over doing the right thing. And now I'm dying anyway. So I'm doing the right thing now. before it's too late. Tears were streaming down my face. I don't know what to say. Say yes, take the money. And when I'm gone, remember that I tried to make this right. Diane filed for divorce 3 days later. The media exploded. CloudSync founder Jonathan Reid sued by wife in $400 million divorce. The headlines got more interesting when someone dug deeper. Tech billionaire committed bigamy. Lived with 2 wives for 8 years. Jonathan's lawyers went into crisis mode. Tried to spin it. But the truth came out anyway. Jonathan Reid had married a second woman while still legally married to his first wife. He'd committed bigamy, a crime in New York, carried up to 4 years in prison. The DA's office started investigating. CloudSync's board called emergency meetings. Investors panicked. Stock price dropped 23% in a week. Jonathan tried to reach me. Calls, texts, emails. I blocked him. He showed up at my apartment. Our apartment. The penthouse I'd lived in for 15 years. I'd changed the locks. Claire, please, let me explain. I opened the door. Looked at him through the chain lock. You have 60 seconds. I never meant to hurt you. I loved you. I still love you. I just made mistakes, but we can fix this. We can't fix anything, Jonathan, because there is no we. There never was. Legally, we were never married, which means legally, you can't hurt me in a divorce. But you did hurt me. You stole 15 years of your life, made me believe I was building a future with you. And it was all a lie. I'll give you money, whatever you want. Name the amount. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? I want you to suffer, the way Diane suffered when you abandoned her, the way I'm suffering now. I want you to lose everything you built on lies. Your 60 seconds are up. I closed the door. Jonathan's lawyers tried everything. They claimed Diane had abandoned the marriage by not contesting the bigamy earlier. Argued she'd accepted money for silence. Diane's lawyers destroyed them. Mrs. Mitchell Reid was terminally ill and coerced into silence by threats. Mr. Reid used her cancer diagnosis as leverage to continue his fraud. This is unconscionable conduct. They claimed the business was built separately. Diane's lawyers presented evidence. Her teaching salary had paid Jonathan's rent and food. Emails from 2006 where Jonathan thanked Diane for believing in the company. Mrs. Mitchell Reid financed this company's existence. She is entitled to equitable distribution. They offered $50 million. Diane refused. They offered $100 million. Diane refused. Half. $400 million. Or we go to trial and the jury sees every email, every lie. Jonathan settled. 6 months later, Diane's divorce was finalized. She received $400 million. She immediately transferred half to an account in my name. I sat in the bank, staring at the balance on the screen. $170 million. Congratulations, Miss Davidson. It wasn't a windfall. It was compensation for 15 years of lies. But it was also more money than I'd ever imagined. Diane called me that night. Did you get it? Yes, don't thank me. Use it. Build something beautiful. Live the life Jonathan stole from you. What are you going to do with your half? Set up a trust, medical research. Make sure no one else has to choose between treatment and justice. I have 6 months, maybe less. I want them to matter. I visited Diane twice a week for the next 4 months. We were an unlikely pair, the legal wife and the fake wife, both betrayed by the same man, both trying to build something meaningful from the wreckage. Diane told me about her life with Jonathan, the early years, the struggling, the love they'd had before money corrupted it. He wasn't always like this. When we were young, he was kind. He used to cook me dinner every Friday. Success, money, power, it revealed who he really was. Someone who valued wealth more than people. I told her about my dreams. I wanted to open my own gallery, create a space for emerging artists. Jonathan said it was too risky. And then years passed, and I just forgot it was something I wanted. You have the money now. Start with one. Make it beautiful. Make it matter. Diane went into hospice in late November. I visited her every day. She was barely conscious most of the time. On December 3rd, she woke up lucid. Claire, you came. Listen, I forgive him. Jonathan, I forgive him, not because he deserves it, but because I don't want to die angry. Forgiveness is freedom. Diane, he destroyed your life. He gave me my life first. 20 good years before the 10 bad ones. Hating him won't change what happened. It'll just poison whatever time I have left. I want peace. Don't let him take any more of your life. You're free now. Don't waste it on bitterness. When you open that gallery, name it after something beautiful. Make it a place where people feel seen. She died 3 days later, peacefully, in her sleep, with her cat on the bed and flowers on the knitstand. I was there, holding her hand, making sure she wasn't alone, the way Jonathan should have been, but wasn't. Diane's funeral was small, her sister from Oregon, a few friends from her teaching days, some neighbors from the building who'd been kind to her during her illness, and me. Jonathan didn't come. His lawyers had advised him not to. Too much media attention. Too risky legally. The DI was still deciding on the bigamy charges. Coward, I thought. Even in death, he couldn't face what he'd done. The service was beautiful, simple. The pastor talked about Diane's kindness, her resilience, her generosity even when she had nothing. Her sister spoke. Diane was the best person I knew. She saw the good in everyone, even when they didn't deserve it. She fought cancer for 8 years with grace. In her final months, she did something I'll never fully understand. She forgave the man who hurt her. I cried through the entire service. At the end, I placed a bouquet of daisies on her casket, the same flowers she'd held in that wedding photo from 1997. Thank you, I whispered, for everything. Jonathan's life fell apart systematically. The Ye filed criminal charges, bigamy, fraud, and tax evasion. He pleaded guilty to avoid trial. 18 months in minimum security prison. $5 million in fines. CloudSync's board forced him out. Reputational damage. He retained his shares but lost all operational control. The media destroyed him. Exposes about his affairs. Interviews with former employees who described him as ruthless and narcissistic. He ended up alone, wealthy but alone, living in a penthouse he'd once shared with 2 different women. I used $20 million of Diane's gift to buy a building in Chelsea, converted it into a gallery. I called it Mitchell House, after Diane, the woman who gave me my second chance. The grand opening was in March. I showcased 12 emerging artists, people who'd been rejected by traditional galleries. The New York Times reviewed the opening. Mitchell House arrives as a necessary disruption. Davidson's curation is bold, thoughtful, and deeply humane. I ran into Jonathan at a restaurant 2 years later. Pure coincidence. I was having dinner with an artist. He was alone. "Claire, can we talk?" "No, please. Just 5 minutes." He sat down uninvited. Looked older, tired. "I'm thriving despite you. Diane gave me the chance you tried to steal. She gave me freedom when you gave me lies. I walked out, didn't look back. He was never my husband," I told the artist. "Just a mistake I lived with." 3 years after Diane's death, her sister found a letter, sealed envelope, my name written in Diane's handwriting. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. Live a life so full that Jonathan becomes a footnote in your story instead of the main chapter." I framed the letter, hung it in my office, a reminder of the woman who saved me. 5 years later, Mitchell House is thriving. I've donated $50 million to cancer research in Diane's name. Anger is exhausting. Forgiveness is freedom. And the best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something so beautiful. Mitchell House is my revenge, my freedom. I didn't just survive, I thrived. I hope Diane knows. I hope she's proud. You would not believe what happened next. I was at Mitchell House reviewing submissions for our spring exhibition when my assistant buzzed. "Claire, there's someone here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says it's urgent. His name is Marcus Mitchell. Mitchell. Diane's last name." Sent him in. The young man who entered was tall, lean, early 20s. Dark hair, Diane's eyes, Diane's sharp cheekbones. He looked like a younger, male version of the woman I'd spent 4 months visiting in hospice. "Marcus," I said, standing. "You're Diane's son?" "Yes." His voice was cold, controlled. "We need to talk." "I don't want tea. I want to know why you stole my inheritance. My mother's settlement. $340 million from Jonathan Reid. She gave you $170 million. Left me with exactly $0. I want to know why." "Marcus, I didn't steal anything. Your mother gave me that money of her own free will. Did she? Or did you manipulate a dying woman into signing over her fortune?" I told him everything. Jonathan, the fake marriage, the discovery, Diane's decision to give me half the settlement as compensation. My mother was on heavy pain medication, morphine, fentanyl, drugs that impaired judgment. You befriended a vulnerable woman and convinced her. My attorney, Paulson and Gray, you'll be hearing from them within the week. We're filing suit. Undue influence. Elder abuse. Fraud. I sat there, hands shaking, staring at the business card. Marcus Mitchell versus Claire Davidson. The son versus the stranger. 47 pages of legal allegations. Plaintiff Marcus Mitchell alleges patterns of manipulation and exploitation of Diane Mitchell's diminished capacity. I called Catherine Vance, my attorney. "They're claiming you manipulated a dying woman," Catherine said. "This is serious, Claire. Trial could cost $5 to $10 million, maybe more. Marcus wasn't just suing me. He was trying to financially destroy me. My legal team started investigating. What we found was complicated. At 14, Marcus demanded $1 million from Jonathan Reid to stay quiet about bigamy. Age 14 to 16, Marcus used the money for drugs. Multiple arrests. Diane discovered the addiction and cut him off financially. You hadn't spoken to her in 5 years. Did you ever send her money? Visit her in the hospital? Support her in any way? Mr. Mitchell, did you or did you not blackmail Jonathan Reid for $500,000 when you were 14 years old? She made the decision to transfer assets to Ms. Davidson 3 months before she died. when she was fully capable of understanding what she was doing. She hated me. She wanted to punish me even from the grave. She didn't hate you. She just didn't trust you. Everyone turned. I'd entered the deposition room against my lawyer's advice. He deserves to know the truth. I sat down across from Marcus, ignored my lawyer's frantic signals to stop talking. Your mother kept journals, private journals. Her sister gave them to me after the funeral. Do you want to know what they say about you? March 2019. Marcus came to the apartment today. He's been clean for 2 years. He looks healthy, but I can't let him back in. June 2020. I think about Marcus every day, but if he knew about the settlement, would $170 million destroy him the way $500,000 almost did? October 2020. I'm giving half to Claire. Not because I don't love my son, but because Marcus needs to build his own life, earn his success. Marcus read the last entry silently, tears streaming down his face. She thought I'd waste it, Marcus whispered. She thought I'd relapse. She thought money would hurt you. She loved you too much to gamble with your life, but I'm going to make you an offer. Drop the lawsuit. Publicly acknowledge she made her choice freely. In exchange, I give you $50 million, but structured to protect you. You get $5 million immediately. The remaining $45 million goes into a trust. You receive $1 million per year starting when you turn 30. The trust has a sobriety clause. If you fail, that year's payment goes to addiction recovery charities in your mother's name. Marcus stood by the window for 5 minutes. Finally, I want half of the trust to go to scholarships for kids in rehab. I smiled. Your mother would have loved that? He extended his hand. Deal. I'm going to build something she'd be proud of. 6 years later, Marcus graduated with honors. He used the $5 million to start the Second Chances Foundation, helping young addicts access education. Every year, on the anniversary of Diane's death, Marcus visits her grave. He tells her about the lives they've changed together. On the 7th anniversary, I joined him. We stood at the grave, the stranger and the son, both given second chances by her wisdom. Somewhere in his penthouse, Jonathan Reid sits alone and disgraced, while we, the people he hurt most, were building something beautiful. 10 years later, a journalist asked me why I gave him the money. I said, because everyone deserves a chance to prove they can do better. Marcus has changed more lives in 10 years than most do in a lifetime. Diane was right. He needed time to grow. I wouldn't change a thing. Loss taught me how to live. And Diane taught me that the best revenge isn't destruction. It's transformation. That's the truth. The end.